I'm delighted that this gentleman has hot-footed it here from Oslo, Mikkel Lehne from Void. Come and join me, Mikkel. Yes, why not? Why not? Everybody needs a clap. And Mikkel is CEO at the Oslo-based experimental design studio Void, which designs, manufactures, and executes bespoke, temporary or permanent installations that incorporate digital features in real space. So through architecture, through sculpture, kinetics, audio, lights, and sensors. And today we're doing something special. We decided there are so many projects of his and his teams which are worthy of discussion, but we decided we'd focus on one in particular, which is called Delta, and it's an installation in Oslo's. I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly. Tullinkvartalet development, where the guys have embedded a light sculpture which actually goes through the streets and alleyways of the area. And we're going to be discussing technology and design and art and play, and also the nature of public space. But I think first of all we're looking at a show reel of the studio, right?
That's right. Thank you, Simon. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
Yeah,
very welcome.
So we just thought I'd give you a little intro of us and let the show reel play, and after that we'll dive into the project.
Super.
These are just different projects that we've done through the years, ranging from live shows and advertising, but finally we focus mostly on permanent physical installations in conjunction with architecture and buildings, indoor and outdoor. We've been working with this for 9 years now, and hopefully we'll triple that.
And this is what we'll be discussing in detail in a second.
Delta. So that's in the center of Oslo. There was a refurbishment, 2 new buildings, and 1 developer that owns the whole quarter. Also old buildings still there. And I'll get into detail and behind the scenes on how we solved that project. So this is there every day, 24/7. In the middle of Oslo for everyone to see. So
fantastic. So maybe we start with, so it's called Delta. I mean, how did the commission come about?
Right. So initially what the client asked us was to look at these alleys that were closed off to the public before and opened up with the refurbishment and new architecture, and looking at how we could brand these entrances to the quarter and make it understandable that you could move into them, that you would experience restaurants and bars and offices, of course, on the inside of the quarter. And we saw, well, you could maybe brand the entrances, but we still wouldn't know that you could go through them. So we got inspired by rivers and deltas of lava, and suggested that we use that to inspire us and work with light in the floor, which was the only common denominator in the area. So we hadn't worked with outdoor lighting before in the ground.
Was the very first time?
Outdoor lighting, but not in the ground, and not with the Norwegian weather conditions. We saw that other people had done it. Lots of people had done great stuff. And inspired by that, we wanted to do long stretches that were seamless, and where sensors would follow the public and set off pulses of light throughout the area.
And so this is a very key aspect of this particular project. It's these kind of built-in sensors. So it's the movement of the of people through these spaces that actually shape the effect, the kinetic effect of the light, right?
Both that and the general animation and a pulse that sort of lures you in and gets the attention.
A combination of the two.
Yes.
Right.
And also throughout the project, we tried to solve the height difference between 2 parts of the building project. And again, being inspired by nature and how water, since we then chose a water theme, how water shapes nature, and suggested an amphi where the lights could come down and also could have multifunctional purposes and solving a master, like the main installation in the center of it, and just taking you through some of the stages that we worked with and the struggles that we had with it. So this was a vision. And this was a building project over 4 years, so we had to follow all the steps that you do in a building, and since we're working in the ground, we had to follow the timeline of the ground and the different development. So in the end, it didn't end up on that wall. We had to follow the timeline and take the lights out on the streets. So we like to collaborate with architects and landscape architects, interior architects, and very much collaborators when it comes to these projects.
So the client is a private property developer.
That's right.
And here you have space that is open to the public.
Yes.
I presume open 24 hours a day. I mean,
yes.
And I guess it's after dark that this really becomes alive, right?
Yes.
I mean, how does this?
Well,
what effect do you get as a visitor during the day?
The good thing about LEDs are that they function during daylight. They can't compete with the sun, so direct sunlight will be an issue, but this is a narrow spaces, so it's a lot of shadows there, so it works during daytime, but of course nighttime it comes even more to effect. And it's helped people discover the area and enjoy using it and talking about it, showing it to tourists and taking pictures of it and videos.
Also was wayfinding also part of the brief? Is there an orientation
yes.
aspect to this?
Helping people navigate and also helping them feel safe at night is also, so you have lots of benefits that come off the idea. And these are add-on projects to the main projects where we did design some benches, we did the main entrance, and we did a sculpture on a wall as well.
So you have the was it a competition? There wasn't a competition.
No, since it was a private contractor, there was no competition.
So you have the brief, you propose your concept. Then what happens next? How do you test this? Because this is such a major intervention. This requires a lot of work. It's not like mounting a kind of or creating an installation which can be demounted very easily. This is really embedded into the fabric of the area.
Yeah.
How do you test it? And is there any way of knowing? I mean, was it focus grouped as well? How do you test whether people are actually going to like this or not?
Very good questions. First of all, prototyping is really important for us in every project. We usually do bespoke projects and single client projects, so we have to know that things will be working both technically, but most of all from effect. And we work in 3D. Previous talks were mentioned Grasshopper, Rhino. We use those tools we also use VR to help people envision how the result will be. But I think the prototyping and actually seeing something and touching something tangible and being able to observe it in the actual location. So we set up a prototype there. That I think helps a lot, but it wasn't straightforward. There was insecurities with the client for the investment because it's almost a kilometer of interactive physical lights, permanent.
Oh, so there was the level of investment required. That was an issue.
It was an issue, but that's forgotten now.
How much bigger was the spend ultimately than the initial budget given to you?
We never had a budget. I think
had a budget.
That's part of.
We love those kind of projects.
Yeah, that's. It was more of a work in progress and proof of concept. So we from prototype we did the first 200 meters, 150 meters.
Right.
And so I think working in stages to actually check off that this will have the desired effect can then give you some risk control.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of. Yeah,
step
by step.
Developed along the way. Yeah.
Fantastic. So So that's approved, and then you start. So tell me about the technology actually. What's going on
Right.
in the ground?
These are LEDs from LEDflex downstairs at 3.0, I think. So a good partner of ours. And we also worked with Schnick Systems on the first part. So those are the two main partners that we have on LEDs, and they help us. They make custom LEDs for our products, as well as sometimes we can use their standards.
And what needed to be customized in this particular
here
case?
it was the bending that was we needed
Right.
both bending going down the flow
Right.
and sideways, and
Right.
they had already solved that. Right now we're doing a full sort of twist bending project where that's sort of where we need help to really get to do all the things that we want to do. And we've developed our own software to control all the animations.
Yes, I was gonna ask, and how much programming is behind it? An awful lot, I guess.
We have different APIs. Like here, we use the sensors, and maybe music can be an input, whatever input, and so we continuously develop the software to handle new inputs, and also talk to other existing inputs that are used in buildings, also data sets, so that we can sort of have something that can develop over time and not become static, that is informed by weather.
Right.
It could change if it's cold outside, you get warm colors.
And where are the sensors? The sensors are actually
here,
integrated into the...
No, here they're actually on the facades and in the ceilings of the alleyways and
Right.
on the building. Yeah. So there's 34 sensors in the whole area, so you're constantly tracked. But we're not saving any data. It's, we're just tracking.
He says,
tracking.
they say.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so you break ground, and then how long does it take to actually to implement this?
I think we always have to follow sort of the like when it's a new building site, we just have to follow the timeline that they have. But a year is very good. A year is good. Shorter than a year gets difficult. It is manageable. But this was 4 years, which again feels long.
Seems like
so that's more of a stop and start sort of process. And but some of the custom production takes time. It's a lot of handcraft in there. So getting that understanding from the client early is important, so that we are aligned on time as well as cost.
Right. And what was I mean, obviously that's always time and money are always those are the kind of meta issues as well. What were the other challenges though for you and the team?
We had lots of challenges. Some were just design issues, as you saw maybe quickly. We tried to solve this sculptural element, and the first one, we found out we needed 150 wires just to suspend it, which would not have been aesthetically nice.
Right.
We had one challenge was working outdoors in the middle of the winter in Norway, because that's the construction goes ahead either way. Time, I think for us also, that we started and stopped and started and stopped was an issue. The initial issue was, of course, solving the product. And that took some time as well, finding the right product for this. And then I think and the team, when you work that long, you really need good partners also from the client side. And then it was we were nervous if we didn't know that we were going to get the whole quarter as we did in the end.
This actually only came out in doing the project that you were given more.
So the stages were
area to cover.
Concept, then cut off, prototype, cut off, phase 1, cut off. So you're never sure if you will be able to complete the whole intended project.
But this seems to be built into. I mean, if you are a studio that really tries to push. To innovate, to be truly experimental, that uncertainty is built into.
I think we chose a difficult life. We make life hard for ourselves. We live with constant uncertainties, and like was mentioned by the previous speakers as well, the delivery has to be perfect. It has to work, and when you do something permanent outdoors, I'm sure many here know, then it's a different ball game than something temporary or indoors. You really have to quality test and work with good partners on all levels.
Well, something like this was just really embedded into the fabric of the space. I mean, it cannot fail.
No.
There's no option of it failing.
But we also have to plan for how to service it. So we know how we can change a section of light if needed. We need to have a plan when the LEDs start running out, that we are ahead of that and we can change them. It's important that we buy products that will last long, of course, so that the client doesn't get a surprise after 2 years where we say, now we have to change all the lights. There has to be a sort of a long-term plan as well when you do permanent things. And the concept has to stand the test of time. It has to be as inspiring in 10 years as it is today.
Absolutely. I mean, but that's a very important question. How do you guarantee that there is no kind of, I guess, no aesthetic obsolescence in a project like this? I mean, someone asked a question earlier about organic forms. You know, I mean, what?
Well, we have a rationale to our design, so there has to be. We have to be able to tell a story that makes sense. It's not just, oh, I like pink today, so that's why we made it in pink. But I think there are no guarantees in life, so you have to put your head sometimes on the out there and
you do.
You know,
and take that risk.
And then time will tell if it's still
right.
But so far, I think it's.
What has the response been from people, from the public?
Amazing, and it's really opened up a lot of doors for us. And what we love about the project in relation to others is that it's open for the public. Everyone can come and see it and have their own interaction with it. As of inside a closed office building, it will be only for the few. So it's put us a little bit on the map in Oslo, at least, in placemaking, destination building, and city development.
Right.
And we hope that we get to continue.
And I guess the private developer is happy if I mean, particularly with kind of placemaking, if the space becomes a destination, then the return on their investment is a very good one.
It's a big proof of the concept that it actually has helped the restaurants and bars that are in the area. People are finding the area because of the lights, not the other way around. So it's being used as a prime example for.
Are you getting a percentage of turnover from local businesses?
We should do that.
That should have been in the contract.
Yeah, the next time, 5%.
Mikkel, do you have to walk over to your laptop to start the video again? I'd like to.
The last one.
Yeah, the last one. Exactly.
I'll do that.
But I can ask you while you're over there, how transferable are your learnings from each of the projects that you work on? I mean, is this important to you to pick projects that really push you, which you then take what you've learned from that and apply it to the next project?
Yes, we learn a lot. I mean, software can be reused. We can rebuild further on our software technology lights. But then I think it's the design that we try to do unique for each project. We don't copy ourselves, and we don't want others to copy us. I mean, we're all inspired by something somewhere, but at least try to do something that is unique for that client in that space, as far as that's possible. But then every project will teach us to do something better the next round. And I think we're more prepared now, of course, to do another project in a certain area like that than we were ahead of this. But it's challenging to, especially now that we do get some requests for doing the same thing. The easy thing,
not to repeat yourselves.
Yeah, not to repeat ourselves, and also I think it's to just treat it as an art piece. And then say that's that one. Next time we have to do something.
It's site specific, and it has a certain kind of.
We believe we could achieve the same effect.
It's not a product.
Way. It's not a product. No.
I mean, you mentioned art there. How is it even important to categorize this type of work as art or design or?
Not for us.
Not for you.
No. But we just want to do cool stuff that has some kind of meaning that helps people, like here, navigate and feel safe in the dark. and just the experience. Like if you want to dance there and that makes you feel happy, we're happy with that too.
Although I suspect there was alcohol involved in that. It wasn't just the.
No, you don't
the,
need
the
alcohol.
project
You
itself,
don't need
which
alcohol to dance, Simon. I'll show you.
I don't.
No.
I asked the guys earlier. I asked Nazanin and Moritz, what their greatest unrealized project was. You guys work across so many. You work, as I said earlier, with kind of sensors and light and audio and so on. What's out there that you'd really love to work on?
Well, we're really lucky. We're about to work with a huge project that involves winches, because we do like the physical movement of things as well. So not only working with lights, but also incorporating other movements and sound as well, which we do sometimes already. So to be able to continue to sort of work with new ways of interacting with mechanics and technology.
And working more internationally?
Yes, hopefully.
Most of your project, or all of your projects in the Nordics? Or?
Yeah, we have mainly in Norway, one in Sweden, and we hope to, by being here, hopefully as well, to get in touch with someone who wants to do projects in other regions in the world.
I would love to see it's like forming a supergroup band. I'd love to see Moritz and Nazanin and Stefano from UN Studio and you work on something together. This would be.
They already have great projects and clients, so I'm sure we could do something cool.
Something really spectacular.
Definitely.
Oh, one last question to you before I take a question or two from the audience, which is, so that you've been in. I mean, the studio's been. When was it founded? 2009, did you say?
15. So
15.
We're in our 10th year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your biggest learning been? What advice would you give to Mikkel, 2015 Mikkel, which he didn't know then, which might have helped him, which could help maybe some of the guys in the audience?
I think we're a very small studio. We're 6 people. So finding good people and keeping them and develop together is, I think, it's key to anything. I can't do anything alone.
How do you keep good people? Retention is a big issue.
I think the main thing for us working there today is that we have a lot of freedom to do things that we want to. We have the interest of making these projects. I think that's the most important reason for otherwise we could have done something much smarter, like banking, because
we all go into fintech.
Any creative work has a lot of it's pain, but you get the release on the result, and then you can be proud that you moved through it.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that highly creative people have a lot more of themselves invested in what they do, and that can bring results in euphoria, but also can bring quite a bit of pain as well. At the same time, we know this.
You have to have both. Yeah.
We've got a couple of minutes left. I'd really like to get a question. What do you think of this project? You're all professionals. I'm sure somebody has a comment or a question, or maybe from Moritz and Nazanin. What do you think?
This is pretty amazing. Yeah, congratulations. Beautiful project.
Thank you.
Maybe if you could tell us a little bit more about this whole aspect of like maintenance and longevity, because I can see that's like the biggest challenge in a project like that.
Thank you. Yes, we have to think about support from the start. Once the concept is sort of taking shape into the construction, we need to think, how will we support this? How will we access? Because I think learning from failure, we have built stuff in that we haven't been able to reach later, so you have to tear something down to access it. So knowing which components need to have what attention, and also onboarding the client on that there will be an afterlife here together, which needs to have a budget, so that and then being ahead of what is known, like a PC that runs 24/7 will fail. at some point. Electricity will fail in the building. The lights will fade out at some point. And all those components, you need to address them, and you need to construct. And if you can't, you have to. Sometimes you have a client wants something in the ceiling. You need to put the components somewhere else so that you don't have to go up to that installation and take everything down. So it's a practical approach, and you have to have a support agreement, and it's non-negotiable. If you then we can't have any responsibility for the installation afterwards, and that's often a problem, that the clients are not prepared for the afterlife, and it becomes an expectation that they've paid for it, and this has to be perfect forever. And I think so that discussion needs to be had early, so that there's no sort of uncertainties and possibilities for problems. Once that's all good, I think it's quite fair, as long as you have good partners that you think will make the products for a bit longer. I can see here there's so much to choose between that I'm very positive for the future when it comes to being able to change the products if something should discontinue.
I think that's very well said, and it's an excellent question. And the idea of sustainability is also about us caring for what we create, what we produce, what we install. That care has to be there, and we know so many. I mean, this is one of the you guys working on bespoke temporary. Both of you actually on temporary installations,
but permanent as well.
That's but that's wonderful though. When one is working on a temporary commission, you don't have to consider that as much.
That's true.
But it's precisely this where you're really inscribing onto the fabric of public space. This is.
But in buildings, this is a natural. The whole support thing is quite natural, and the more smart buildings you get, the more. This is just another component to an already existing sort of structure that our clients, some of our clients have at least. Yeah.
Very good point. Oh, I see. What you can't see is on our screen here we have a big clock that's sort of ticking down, and it says it's over.
All right,
game over. We're being thrown off stage. Thank you so much to all of you for being here and being so attentive, and feel free to connect with any of our speakers afterwards. They're extremely affable and open to human interactions. And thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the fair. I'm Simon Keen-Cowell from Architonic, and this guy has been Mikkel Lehne from Void in Oslo. Give him a round of applause.